Hello and welcome to art class. So today in 5th grade we are starting our Surreal Meal project. Surrealism is a cool art movement that was created in response to some ridiculous things that the artists were experiencing in their lives. And so they decided to create a world in their paintings that kind of reflected that. The three main tools that we see artists use are juxtaposition, where artists combine two things that don't really go together. So in the slideshow we saw those elephants with tubas for heads. They use repetition and dislocation, which we can see here in this example and which we saw with the businessmen that were raining from the sky in the slideshow. So that's where you were repeating something over and over again and putting it in a place where it doesn't belong. And the last technique that we see them use is transformation. This is where the artist is turning something into something else. So for instance, a noodle getting turned into a snake, or like we saw in the slideshow, the book becoming a flock of birds. So in your artwork, you are going to take inspiration from surrealism and from the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and pick a favorite meal and then use those three techniques of surrealism, juxtaposition, repetition/dislocation, and transformation to create your very own surreal meals. So as a class, we did some brainstorming. We considered orange chicken and turning the chickens into oranges. We considered turning a noodle into a snake and then making a fork a snake charmer. We made ourselves a taco cow, and then we talked about the technique of repetition and dislocation by having French fries raining down on McDonald's. I would think about those ideas. Maybe I think of some others. So maybe I have silverware playing a rock concert. Maybe I have a knife lion eating a steak. Maybe I have some spoon dolphins swimming through a sea of cereal. It's up to you. I encourage you to think of some different ideas for what you like to eat. That could be food, that could be snacks, that could be dessert. And think about how you could use those techniques to transform them. You'll notice that all of my sketches are really rough. They're not very detailed, and that's okay because this is just a brainstorming process. To divide your paper nicely into fourths, I recommend folding it in half hot dog style, long and skinny, then unfolding and folding it in half hamburger or taco style, short and stout. Make sure that your name and class is on your paper. Once you have done some brainstorming, I want you to think about your top idea, and then that's the idea that you're going to draw on a big piece of paper. So let's say that I'm really liking this orange chicken concept. So then I would draw that on my big piece of paper, and I'm just going to set these things off to the side for right now. So I might decide that as a kind of spoof, maybe instead of a barn, I have a takeout box. So I draw myself a takeout box shape. Remember, draw light till you get it bright. You can always erase if your lines are light. Then go darker once you are more confident of your mark. So let's say that's my takeout box barn. Maybe I have kind of that barn entrance. And then maybe I have the window that they often have up at the top with some straw hanging out of it. But then maybe up at the top here, I have grains of rice. Maybe I have kind of a symbol on the side, kind of like our takeout boxes often do from Chinese restaurants. Maybe I've got a fence like we often see at a farm with those kind of running boards with some other boards going up. So again, I'm moving kind of quickly here. You can certainly take more time than I am doing, which I would like you to do. But real quick here, I'm already starting to create kind of a surreal scene. So my scene is already starting to be kind of wonky. Like, we don't normally see takeout boxes as barns. I can start to think about those orange chickens. Got my orange segment here. I'm going to stack my chicken head on top with its little beak and its eyes. Maybe that little feather thing there, some wings, its little tail, its legs. So start with pencil. Once you've got your sketch all laid out, we are going to be painting these. Maybe I've got some piles of rice around, kind of like you might see chicken feed around in a farmyard. And I think I need a second orange chicken. Maybe that one's just facing me. It's got its little beak, its eyes, little feathers, its wings, and those sections of the orange. So again, just really quickly, I'm sketching this out. I would like you to take your time a little bit more. You can use food, you can use desserts, you can use snacks, all are great inspirations. Once you've got your sketch laid out and it's more of kind of a completed landscape scene, you're ready to start painting and using oil pastels. Oil pastels are nifty because the oils in it are going to resist the waters in our paint. So I recommend using those first to help kind of keep your piece together. This helps to keep the paint where you want it to be. It also helps preserve white details since we don't have white paint. So if I wanted to create some clouds, I might want to do those first. I'm kind of stylizing my clouds to fit my scene. I might want to go over my rice details first with some white so that they stay white. And once I've got that done, I might use some other colors just to add in some more visual interest. So maybe I use the brown to talk about like a grain on the wood for the boards here of the fence, just to make those a little bit more interesting. I recommend as you use these oil pastels that you're not trying to so much color things in, but you're more just using them to emphasize your details and make those details really stand out. Alrighty, and I think actually I want these details to stay white, so I'm going to go over those as well. And I might use some yellow on my sun. Maybe I use some gold to talk about my takeout box symbol here. Gold. All right. Once you're done with the details that you want to do with the oil pastels, you are going to move on to painting today. We have 2 different brush sizes available to you. We've got the big brush for big spaces, the little brush for little spaces. I recommend that you start in your background and then work your way forward to your foreground. To wake up the paint, you're going to need to add a little bit of water, and then please use beautiful brush strokes to fill it in. Remember, when our brushes dance across our paper, they go on their tiptoes. This helps keep our brushes nice for a long time. It also is showing great craftsmanship because we're really controlling where that paint is going. Wet paint next to wet paint is going to mix together, so I recommend that if you don't want your colors to mix together, to wait for the first color to dry before coming in with another color next to it. So again, my clouds are appearing because the oil pastel is resisting the paint. I'm using big, beautiful brush strokes to really fill in around my painting, dancing on my brush's tiptoes. If my brush is making a scritchy, scratchy sound, it's telling me it's thirsty. It needs some more paint and some more water. Make sure your paint is really filling your whole paper. It's going to the very edges of your paper. Not leaving anything out. The reason why we do the background first is so that our foreground details really look like they're coming to the front. They're sitting on top of the background versus having our edges a little bit muddled with our mistakes and other things like that. When you want to switch colors, please make sure that you're rinsing out your brush, switching it in the cup before you make your way forward. So I'm going to make sure that I really rinse my brush out well, and then I can start maybe working with some grass here on the front. I can add visual interest by switching between my 2 greens here in my palette, making sure that I rinse my brush out first before I switch colors. That helps make sure that our paints stay nice for a long time and stay the colors that they are supposed to be, so that when somebody wants dark green, they can get dark green. I'm just going to keep going until I've really filled in my whole painting. Your goal today is just to get as far as you can. I'm not really expecting anybody to be finished today. Your goal is simply to paint as much as you can to make sure that you're doing your best, taking your time as an artist to complete this painting. We will have another work day after today, so just do your best. So again, we're taking our time, we're doing our best work. Our goal is to get our paintings to a level of completion, kind of like this example. So now this one was created with a different type of paint, but you can see that this is a finished painting. We have our characters, these silverware dinosaurs, interacting with this prehistoric spaghetti landscape. The whole thing has been filled with color and it looks really beautiful. So this is kind of our goal for where we're headed. Today I want you to just get as far as you can get. When you're done, your painting should get tucked safely on the drawing rack. You can put your brainstorming sketch onto your class shelf. Paintbrush again goes to the soapy water bucket. Paints and oils pastels get stacked back on the counter. Have fun creating.